Thank you very much, Sue. Good afternoon. Welcome to TRW Committee in the Senate. Let's take roll real quickly, Sue. Thank you.
Senator Boner.
Here.
Senator Hicks.
Excused?
Senator Jones. Here. Senator Schuler.
Excused?
Chairman Landon.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We are here to get started with Senate Files 104, sponsored by Senator Scott. Good afternoon, Senator. It's good to see you. Sorry for the delay. Higher education research funding. Tell us what you got in mind with this bill.
Mr. Chairman, this is a bill trying to get some alternate local funding for research at our primarily at the University of Wyoming. It was triggered by an article that I read midsummer in the Wall Street Journal, actually, saying that the future of research funding was going to be local. And their argument, I'd seen several articles talking about the cutbacks that the federal government had made in the funding it's giving for research, which has been a principal source of research. And I thought that the point of the article was dead on, because the feds are in trouble. They've spent so much money that the interest on the deficit is cutting into their ability to fund things, and cutting back research is a classic strategy for dealing with that. And I think we can predict it's going to continue no matter who wins future elections. There's going to be pressure. The article suggested that funding was going to have to come local, and was suggesting state income tax credits as a way to stimulate it. That's not something we can do for obvious reasons, but we have had successful experience in raising funds for the university in particular with the matching funds concept. So I thought that that was the route to go. And that's the principal thing this bill does, is it authorizes matching funds to raise equal amounts of private funding for research. And that has a real advantage, Mr. Chairman, in that we can vary the amount that we put up depending on what our one-time revenue sources are. And it's a way to take those and turn them into something much more permanent for the university. The bill authorizes an account that these go into. It calls for matching funds. I consulted with Senator Ruff, as I actually talked to him, just side conversation at Education Committee meeting, and he had a couple of additional ideas that are in here, one of which is to improve the funding for the graduate research assistants who actually do the grunt work of the real research and are not very well paid almost universally. And he said we could get a lot better quality with just a little extra increase. So it does allow for extra funding, not for all of them, but they can have a select group that gets it. And it's set at $1,500 a month, and you can vary it by the number of them that you actually give it to. And when you consider the stage of life those people are in, they're the age where they're likely to be establishing families and whatnot. That kind of money really talks. And the feeling was you get a lot of credit for it. And then we did have a provision in here that gives the university very wide flexibility in how it negotiates with researchers on who owns the product of the research. And that program, we spend more money on getting the patents and running the program than we take in right now. We think if we make it a little more generous, and the bill does that a little, we're likely to have a better chance of getting the research done officially on university time as opposed to private time. And that'll help. But the main thing is, Mr. Chairman, it authorizes matching funds for research purposes, makes the authorization part of the permanent statute. So in the future, we can say, we can put it simply as another line item in the budget. This does provide this is separate from the university's block grant. And I think that's important because partly because this is strictly a legislative initiative. We've worked with the university trying to make sure they've got the flexibility to administer it properly. But this is an effort of the legislature to try to solve a problem we can see coming at the university. And of course, our university is a land grant institution. Primary mission is instruction of undergraduates. That will continue. But I can tell you from personal experience that it is very useful for an undergraduate to take courses from somebody who is really doing research and can add an extra flavor to what you get that you just can't get any other way. And I think it's a step in making the University of Wyoming a really, truly great university. And that's where we ought to go. That's our future, Mr. Chairman. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Senator Scott. Well done. Any questions? Senator Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Scott, can you give us an example of some of the type of research that this would fund?
Okay.
Go ahead,
The
Senator.
bill provides several things. It does provide, you could raise funds to buy equipment that would be widely used for all kinds of other research. For example, they have over there an amazing computerized system where you can walk into the middle of a display of a protein that they have under the microscope, or the display of an oil and gas reservoir. That's expensive, high-tech equipment. The high bay is full of those, and having that can be used widely, it would be eligible. You could have a Wyoming company come to you and say, we need to know specifically, we've got certain characteristics in our oil reservoir. What's the best approach at recovering that oil? We could have that. You could have something, one piece I'd love them to do is to take a look at all the exposures that there are around the state in grazing land and see. My instinct is that fencing them out and keeping the grazing out, from what I've seen, degrades the quality of the land and the range. That would be an interesting research project. The sky's the limit on research, but a lot of it could well be tied in with the land grant mission.
So Senator Rothfuss, would you like to come up? You've signed on to this bill, and we would welcome your comments here in a moment. I wanted to drill down just real quickly, Senator. We've come down the river a long ways together, and you're right. We have really benefited from matching type programs and foundational support. I wondered, did you give any thought to this appropriation going into a model like that? It looks like this is just a line item for the next biennium of 50 million. Do I read that correctly?
The intent here, and I think I will double check the language in the bill, Mr. Chairman, if we need change. The intent is to authorize it ongoing. So in the future, we could deal with it. Say we've got X amount of one-time money that we could spend and put up for matching and vary that appropriation quite a bit. The piece that would need to be part of the ongoing appropriation would be if we started the extra funding for the graduate assistants. And that's going to be in the 1.2 million range,
Sure.
Something like that, to get 20 of them, say.
Boy, I appreciate that, Senator. I'm intrigued by the idea that maybe we could build a corpus in an endowment fund, specifically for research purposes.
That would be a possibility here.
Or
you could get the funding up front for a specific research project that would say take several biennia to do. Sometimes they're ongoing things.
Senator, wanted to give you a chance to join in real quickly, and then I want to get to the president. He's here this afternoon, so
Excellent.
take it away, Senator.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee. I appreciate Senator Scott's efforts on this, and he came to me and suggested this concept. And so we spent some time talking about it and working together on some ideas that might facilitate research in the state. recognizing that the state of Wyoming has research priorities and we needed the ability for the university to be participating in those priorities in the long run. And that's part of the land grant mission, right? Research is one of the key components, as well as service to the state. So you bring those two together, and then we're really hitting on all cylinders and improving the state's profile. So this idea of looking long-term instead of just a one-time appropriation, trying to get matching funding, and we know it's out there, right? We do a great job through the university and through a lot of programs in the state of bringing in our matching funds, doing that in endowment styles, just as you're suggesting, Mr. Chairman, so that we can grow that fund over time, get it up into the, wouldn't it be nice if it were $100 million or more, generate significant revenue each year. And then we can have a research profile as a state where we're engaging, and those funds can also be used, and this is consistent with what Senator Scott was talking about, we can take our funds and match those towards federal funds to bring in additional grants that are targeted towards our interests. So it really opens doors for the state. I think this is a very forward-looking and thoughtful idea by Senator Scott. You know, this reminds me, getting back to the Hathaway concept, where we're building for the future. This is one of those ideas that's building for the future. And then there's good language in the bill trying to find ways to incentivize research at the university and make us a unique place to do that, incentivize the best and brightest students from around the country coming to the University of Wyoming and undergoing, whether it's undergraduate research or graduate research at UW. So great legislation, Mr. Chairman.
Appreciate it, Senator. Thank you. Any questions of Senator Rothfuss or the prime sponsor of the bill? Senators, I'll let you guys sit back. The problem is there's no place to sit, but.
Right. Well, Mr. Chairman,
You
that's gonna be
two-
okay for me because I've got to go to appropriations. So
Okay, well, off you
I
go.
appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Senator
Absolutely.
Rothfuss, for stopping in on this
Yep.
one. And Senator Scott, if you'd like to just come up and have a seat right up here. Let's go to the University of Wyoming on this one to start with. Gentlemen, good afternoon. It's good to see you both, and really appreciate you being here to take a look at this one with us. Mr. President, good afternoon.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Hello, members of the committee. I'm Ed Seidel, President of the university, and I just want to say I'm here also accompanied by Vice President for Government Affairs, Mike Smith. I'm really pleased with this legislation, the proposed bill. It fits very well with what we've been working on for some years at the university. I would say we've been revving up the engine, and I mean that in multiple ways. We've increased our capacity to support the university faculty and staff to do research that helps advance Wyoming's interest. We've also increased the amount of money that we have been bringing in. We've more than doubled research, both expenditures and grants from external sources. Most recently, we've had $221 million in external funding, and that leverages the state block grant. So we're doing very well with that. That money is often used to do things that, for example, to look at whether or not you could create batteries from trona. That's a real favorite of mine right now. That looks like a lot of potential that could have real impact on the state's economy, or things like oil and gas. As we've heard, it helps leverage the expertise we have for economic gains in the state. We've also been recognized at a national level in ways that we hadn't before. Just last year, we became what's known as a Carnegie R1 Research Intensive University. That's the highest category in the top 4.9% or 4.8% of all universities in the country. So we're in that group, and that means we are really, really humming in terms of our research abilities. Now, there are issues at the federal government level. Sometimes an administration changes gears, something is not as important as it seemed, or then it comes back and so on. But there are definitely trends downward towards federal support for research at the National Science Foundation, Department of Energy, and so on. So we are concerned about this, and this would really help support that engine that we've really revved up here. So I would just say overall, we're very, very enthusiastic about this. And I'll say we have a couple of comments on it that we are happy to work with the sponsors of the bill. I would just say maybe only to give one example. For graduate students, it's very important to have support, and we can bring in and support students better. We might bring in more students, also a higher quality of students, or will be attracted by having a little more money. But we also want to involve undergraduates, and we also want to make sure that we involve postdocs and research scientists. The last thing I'll say, because I know you're under time pressure, is that we have worked hard in matching programs like this before, including just last year, we were given some funds from the legislature, $2.5 million for AI programs, and under the condition that they be matched, and they were matched by more than 2 to 1. So we brought in a nearly total of $9 million, and that's with companies and donors who, for example, want to know how do they use AI to advance their business as it impacts Wyoming. So that's just an example of what we could do. So I'm happy to stop there. I could go on all day, but no one has time for it. I know.
Football team would be very proud of you, Mr. President. You had 3.3 speed on that one in the 40. So nice work.
Thank
Really
you.
good stuff. Senators, any questions of the president? Mr. Vice President, anything to add? Appreciate you both being here, and we'll reserve the right to hit you a little later if we've got a question.
Happy to come back.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you for being here. Okay, let's go to anyone else who would like to testify on this bill. We are taking up Senate File 104, a higher education research funding bill. Anybody in the room want to testify on this one? Okay, do we have anybody online? Okay. I'm going to close testimony. Committee, what's your pleasure on this bill?
Move the bill.
Okay, moved by Senator Jones. Discussion, any discussion? I would just say, committee, I like this concept. I really salute Senator Scott for bringing it and thinking ahead and looking out on the horizon, and always room for tweaks, and as we go along, if there's anything to make it better, we'll sure lean in behind you, Senator Scott, but I think it's a good bill. So let's take roll on Senate File 104.
Senator Boner.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Hicks has left an absentee vote of aye.
Okay,
Senator Jones. Aye. Mr. Chairman, Senator Schuler has left an absentee vote of aye.
okay,
Chairman Landon.
aye.
Mr. Chairman, you have 5 ayes.
Okay, thank you. Senator Scott, thank you. We'll see you back upstairs with this bill, and we'll have to re-refer it, Senator, so that will go to the Appropriations Committee as soon as they can take it up. Okay, terrific. Senate File 109, Cowboy State Agricultural Trust Fund. What happened to Senator? Senator Boner's out front. Thank you, Senator. Take us through Senate File 109.
Yeah, I'm sure we
Yeah.
still have a quorum, right, Mr. Chairman? So,
Yeah, we kind of do.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Well, all right. So Senate
if you
File,
had stayed up here, we would have.
okay, well,
No, we're all good.
I'll do whatever you want, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
within reason. But, Senate File 109 is a result of the governor's agricultural initiative. Had a chance to be a part of this, starting kind of late last summer. A good group of people, from different walks of, Wyoming agriculture. And, this is the legislative part of that effort. And so, what we came up with is this notion that we're going to effectively connect the private sector, connect our ag producers directly with those portions of state and local government which are supporting them. So think UW College of Agriculture, our community college, to the extent we teach CTE and ag in the classroom in our K through 12 system, Wyoming Business Council and the tools that they have at their disposal to support our production agriculture. So we kind of came up with this notion that we were going to form a committee and then set aside $10 million, and the committee would decide how to expend those funds in order to support our third largest industry. And so I could go through the bill if you want, Mr. Chairman, if
I
whatever
think
you want.
that would help, Senator, if you don't mind, just a quick look through the bill just to make sure we're up to speed with you.
Okay, sounds good. Yep. And so basically establish the committee, establish the fund. Fairly straightforward. The state treasurer will invest the fund. We use the earnings from the fund going on to page 3. But we can also take contribution grants and gifts directly to the fund. as well. So we're not certainly precluding that. And starting off with $10 million, as I mentioned. And so on the bottom page 3, that's kind of the first real policy considerations I think we have. It kind of gives some direction to the committee as to what these funds could be expended for. And so the first one is similar to the previous bill, research at the University of Wyoming, in particular the College of Agriculture. The idea being, I think a lot of what we heard, there's variability in, especially the federal funds. We want something that's going to put Wyoming in the driver's seat and be relevant to Wyoming producers. So that's why we have the opportunity for research at the College of Agriculture, but also workforce development going on the top of page 4, dealing with UW and our community colleges, making sure we have programs, say the ranch management program, or even say, you think about a welding program at a community college, have maybe have something specific towards production agriculture. Certainly a good welder on the farm or ranch is worth their weight in gold. And so, just think of something like that, that would be a good use of our community colleges. We have ag in the classroom, as well as on paragraph 3 there, think about a curriculum where we have maybe a joint or concurrent credit class. That's what we call it in Douglas, at least, where you can work with the community college and get some college credits while you're still in high school. Looking to enhance those opportunities there. But then we also kind of move out of the education realm and move into maybe more what we think of maybe the business council would deal with. Talking about value-added agriculture, meat processing plants. Would be a good example of some of the we've seen quite a bit of progress since the beginning of the pandemic, and having USDA approved meat processing plants. And we even currently have the ability to issue industrial revenue bonds to support those types of endeavors. Then we, continue on to marketing. Once again, talking about the regulatory burdens, think about all the things you have to do to get a USDA approved meat processing plant up and running. And I think that's when our business council is at its best, is when they're helping our small businesses deal with those sorts of things. And then this idea that, things that will help incorporate new practices, things, drones, satellite technology into production agriculture, similar to what maybe the Extension Service has been doing. And then we have the catch-all in the middle of page 5, anything else basically that's focused on enhancing Wyoming agriculture. So we have a requirement, notably on bottom page 5, that any grant should be matched 1-for-1 for non-state funds. So that's important there. I think the way the Wildlife Trust Fund works. So we're kind of mimicking that a little bit. And then of course they have to report back to this committee. So page 6 goes into the membership of the committee. Went over it briefly. We have the director of the Department of Agriculture, dean of the College of Agriculture at UW, somebody from the Business Council, somebody from our community colleges, somebody from high schools who teaches vocational or career tech, and then basically the ag in the classroom representative, though we can't put that directly in statute. Then we currently have 3 private sector individuals for a 9-person committee. So that's where it stands now. Have a provision, the governor will appoint, the Senate will confirm, and then we have staggered terms for the initial appointment of the board. Then the Department of Agriculture will provide the support. You do have an administrative impact, which is not currently considered in the bill. Looks like it's about $21,000 a year. So trust the committee's judgment on that, or the Appropriations Committee if it gets to that point. Then, just giving a little bit more direction to the committee. Draw your attention to the bottom of page 2. We only have a report back to the Joint Agriculture Committee up until 2032. And I think after talking to some of our colleagues, I think we want more legislative oversight, not less. And so I may ask this committee to just strike through the bottom of page 8, line 22, just strike through October 1st, 2032. There's even been some talk, Mr. Chairman, I don't know what the committee think of this, of even requiring legislative approval for grants more than $200,000. And that'd be relatively easy.
Senator, can you reiterate bottom of page 8?
Right. Page 8, line 22, thereafter, put a period and strike the rest of the line.
Okay. And Senator, thank you. That gets us over to the enactment and to the to the $10 million.
Mhm.
And I just answered my own question, general fund. I was going to ask you why I was missing, where that's coming from. So I'm sure our brothers and sisters in arms in the appropriations committee will have something to say with that a little bit later, as you go up there.
Right. And
It-
we thought
yeah.
10 million was a good starting point. Let the committee get its feet underneath it. And it's about, $250,000 a year. Let's see how it goes.
So is it your vision, Senator, that this would grow through the years and maybe become another wildlife trust fund, for example? It could, couldn't it?
I think that'd be wonderful. I think we have to take the first step first, but yeah, if it goes well, absolutely. That'd be great.
Yeah. I like that this might dovetail a little bit with what we were just talking about with the university. There's a couple of pieces of that. Questions of the good senator? Well, Senator Schuler, welcome back. And
thank you.
hey, hold that up, would you please?
I'm late.
Show what you were tied up with here.
Little plaque here.
Yeah, how about that?
Sorry, I'm
I
late.
think she deserves a hand at Senator Schuler and I.
They just give them to you and they collect dust, but no, I appreciate it. That was very nice of them. But
Yeah.
no, the question I had was, did you use the other trust funds that we have available to kind of, and I missed the first part, so you may have already talked about that to kind of come up with this idea, or how did it come about?
Yeah, I'd say maybe the closest analysis or comparison would be the ADMB, because we're not, creating a new agency. We're not hiring new employees. We're taking existing agencies and sort of bringing them together. We did also get some elements out of the Wildlife Natural Resource Trust with the required matches for the grants. And but I'd say ADMB would be the closest one.
Senator, I hope you can come back up or stand back or, whatever. And we can ask you questions from up here if that's all right. Thank you for your presentation. And let's go, I want to go to our Department of Ag first, gentlemen. It's good to have you here and anxious to get your input on this. And then we'll go to further testimony on this agricultural trust idea. So, Director.
Thank you, Mr.
Good-
Chairman.
good to see
Good
you.
afternoon, committee. I'm Doug Miyamoto with the Department of Ag, and with me at the table today, we have Joe Budd. He's the Deputy Director of the Wyoming Department of Agriculture. And we have a few thoughts of working through this process of the Cowboy State Agricultural Initiative Committee over the past several months. It's been a good experience for all of us, I think, and timely start thinking about, I guess we're always thinking about how to make sure agriculture is thriving in the state of Wyoming. It's so much part of our culture, but this allowed us to come up with something tangible about how we see we could best do that. The senator is absolutely correct when he says the Department of Ag we can implement this the way that it's presented to you today. And we do have other examples already existing in the Department of Ag that are kind of modeled the same way. Animal Damage Management Board is a perfect example. Something on the order of 60% of the total budget of the Department of Agriculture would be classified as pass-through funds, where we support groups like this. Examples would include your local predator boards. Obviously, that would be the example with the Animal Damage Management Board. But we also offer similar administrative services for weed and pest control districts, conservation districts for water quality, that type of thing. So we do have some experience in trying to manage these types of funds that are viewed as inviolate corpuses of money.
Yeah.
And give us an opportunity to grow and match that as well and leverage it to try to grow the corpus of this account over the years and make it better. On the administrative side, we do have a couple of ideas for your consideration. We essentially use the Wyoming Wildlife and Natural Resource Trust as kind of a template. We had filled out a fiscal impact statement on this bill, but it said in the online notification that we would provide the administrative expenses of the fiscal impact to the committee. So I have copies of that here. As the senator already mentioned, that works out to be about $21,000 per year, $42,000 and some change for the biennium. And what that primarily would be is there's a committee of 9 there. And the way that I'm looking at the bill, it looks like there's about 5 of those that wouldn't be in any kind of travel status for meetings or anything like that. And then also to cover associated administrative expenses for the management of that committee. That's the math that it works out to about $42,000 for the entirety of the biennium.
So Director, I would just say, let's try to address that, Senator. I didn't see that we did. And so that doesn't come out of that initial 10 million, for example, we may want to just put a line item in or whatever to go up to appropriations with, but
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
any thoughts on that?
if you want to do it, this is probably the committee to do it instead of appropriations.
Well, we'll work that out, but so.
So,
Director,
Mr.
please-
Chairman,
Please, please proceed and,
well, thank you. I do have, we worked up some language of, an alternative for you if that is something that you're interested in including. We worked out some language that could fit into the bill on page 9.
okay, we
If that's of
appreciate that.
interest. If not, no big
Director,
deal.
those sheets, maybe we can get those passed out. We just need to take a look at that. We'll take a lead from the sponsor of how he thinks we might want to proceed on there. But anything further, Director?
No, Mr. Chairman,
Committee?
unless you or the committee have questions for us, we're happy to implement this if it comes to be.
Questions, committee? So I just have one, and that is, you mentioned we do have a lot of programs in our Department of Ag. You guys are busy. So I'm just curious, though, if this piques an interest and if you think it has a chance to fill some gaps out there, create some opportunities that we haven't thought of. What's your vision and what's your thoughts on that, Director?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that at the core of what we do, I always tell the folks at the Department of Ag, it's our job to keep the rancher in the saddle and the farmer on the tractor. And I think most of our programs that we do that to some extent, but none of them are as direct as this one is. The mission statement of the Cowboy State Ag Initiative is exactly this. It is, how do we make this truly sustainable and how do we improve ranch and farm viability?
Yeah.
Economic viability, keep folks profitable so that the outlook, the horizon for agriculture, we never quite get the sunset over that horizon. We're always pursuing more for that industry. It's so much a part of the flavor of this state that it is worth really thinking about.
Yeah.
What are the things that we can really do to protect our ag producers and give them more opportunities as time goes on? All of our programs are designed in some way to achieve that goal, but none of them are as direct as saying the purpose of this project, the purpose of this initiative is exactly to improve just the baseline viability of an ag operation. And so I think that's what separates this one from the other pass-through programs that we administer at the department today.
Appreciate it, Director. Senator Schuler's got a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, I don't know if the sponsor or the director can answer this, but on page 5, just in my own mind, talking about the grants, they may be made to Wyoming government entities, educational institutions, and other qualified public entities incorporated in Wyoming. What would be some of those other qualified public entities? Would it be something like a 4-H or a FFA, or would they be considered government? I'm not sure.
Senator,
Mr.
go
Chairman,
ahead.
Senator, there have been many groups that we discussed during the development of our report for the initiative itself. And I think all of those that you mentioned, 4-H and FFA were certainly ones that rose to the top. But there's a lot of initiatives that we have experience with that include the private sector as well. We talked a little bit about there being a need for some additional development in meat processing. And we did an initiative during the pandemic that was a cost share opportunity to try to grow that out some. In thinking about long-term implications for the state of Wyoming, the committee and I think all of us agree that a major step for the state of Wyoming agriculture would be the development of a medium-sized processing plant that would be USDA inspected so that the product coming out the back door of that plant could go anywhere in the world. That takes more scale than we've been able to address to this point in time. Most of ours would be categorized as very small. And that we need to get that kind of scale of operation. We're doing better than we used to, but those are the types of entities that I think could really benefit. I've also been thinking quite a bit about the sheep sector and some ideas that we might be able to foster some innovation in the use and the marketability of Wyoming wool products. Lamb is a whole other topic, but I think there needs to be a region-wide emphasis on that sector in particular. And I've talked to my counterparts in Idaho and Utah and Colorado, and I think there may be some ways to leverage some funds to get some market studies and some innovation going in that sector as well. I appreciate the question.
Thank you. Anything else for the director? Mr. Budd, anything you'd like to add?
No, Mr. Chair.
It's good to see you. Thank you both. If you could hang tough, we may have a question coming up a little later. We do have Katie Smith with the treasurer's office. And I saw her back there, and I would love to have you come up, Katie. Thank you. Good to see you. Long time no see. Of course. Yeah. So Katie's online. I thought I saw her back in the bag, but maybe okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Dawn. Thank you.
And as Katie comes in, she is our Chief Financial Officer, and we just wanted to bring to your attention in the creation of this appropriation for a perpetual trust fund, an inviolate perpetual trust fund. We think that the way that this is written, that you should consider creating an expenditure account. Is she there? I'll let Katie take over, and I'll back her up as needed.
Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate it. Katie, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is Katie Smith. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the State Treasurer's Office. My testimony today is going to focus on the creation and investment of the newly created Cowboy State Agricultural Trust Fund on page 2. Apologies. Starting at line 15. So to ensure the trust fund is inviolate, while also being able to expend the investment earnings off of the trust fund, we would suggest potentially creating an expenditure or income account for the distribution of those investment earnings. As it's written and interpreted, the investment earnings being spent from the trust fund would not really allow that inviolate nature. So with that, I would stand for any questions. Thank you.
So Katie, thank you. And Dawn, you as well. I wonder if the sponsor couldn't get with you and make sure that we develop that in a way, language-wise, and then put it in the right place in the bill. And to the sponsor of the bill, I'm thinking that just to expedite things today, we might go up and accomplish that on committee of the whole, for example. What do you think, Senator? Does that sound like something maybe you could get with?
Yeah, we
with
could
these
do that. And yeah, if someone from the treasurer's office has any specific suggestions, they can just email me and we'll go from there. So,
Mr. Chairman, Senator Bonner, I'd be happy to send you an email. There's going to be a couple of places where we need some conforming amendments again in on page 3 in subsections C and D, just to ensure that because the intention here, it appears to be in the bill that you would want to spend the earnings from that 10 million as well as the donations. Those would not become part of that inviolate trust. So we need to be able to put those in an account where you would be able to expend that, where the earnings from the 10 million would also be deposited. And we would be happy to send some of that language over.
Dawn, thank you for that. And Katie, thanks. I really appreciate you guys working with Senator Bonner on this to make sure for committee of the whole, we've got, I think rather than trying to work through all those pieces this afternoon, we're interested in getting these back up to the Senate so that we've got a chance with them. This is a good bill and we want it to keep flying. So does that sound like a plan, Senator? Is that okay?
Thank you,
Um,
Mr. Chairman. We just want to make sure it works the way you want to.
Yeah.
Take
and
care.
we
Thanks,
can-
Mr.
we can
Chairman.
vote accordingly. Yeah, thank you, Katie. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go to other testimony. Mr. Luthi, I did not mean to miss you on that previous bill. So you can have carte blanche today. Whatever you'd like to comment on.
Mr. Chairman, I'm glad you missed me on the previous bill because I wasn't planning to testify.
Oh,
on
well,
the previous
Thank
bill.
goodness I can wipe my brow a little bit.
No
I
problem.
stepped out of
Mr.
line.
Chairman, members
Great
of the
to see you.
committee, thank you. I'm Randall Luthi, Policy Director for Governor Gordon. He sends his best to you and he greatly appreciates your consideration of this bill. Senator Boner just mentioned that as did Director Miyamoto, that the governor set up an agricultural Cowboy State task force early in the summer. As you look around, and I noticed it while I was sitting here, the great seal of the state of Wyoming behind us. On there, we have livestock, grain, and which appears to be Senator Boner in hairier days. But I think that does tell us how important agriculture has always been to the state of Wyoming. It is part of our pillar. And yet that industry faces just unusual challenges, livestock owners, farmers, Wyoming particularly are an ornery bunch and they're a stubborn bunch, right? You wouldn't make it in this environment if you weren't. But as time goes on, everything changes. And the agriculture industry is just facing, I think, unprecedented challenges. It's been, for example, suddenly our land is worth something and worth a lot. And, why would you want to try and keep it in the family and just work hard when you could sell it for so much more for development? So that was one of the things the governor wanted the task force to look at, is all the challenges that we would have to meet to guarantee that agriculture would still be a force in Wyoming in the next generation. Senator Boner sort of volunteered to be on the task force, as did Representative Strzok, because we thought there might be some legislative, solutions that they could look at. So with that, this is one of them. And again, thank you, Senator Boner, for bringing it forward. We think this is an overall great piece of a package as we look what agriculture can be in the next generation. So Senators, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Mr. Luthi. Senator Schuler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Don't want to let Mr. Luthi go without answering at least one question. Do you see kind of a decrease in the number of family farms around Wyoming? Do you think this bill is maybe the silver bullet that we've been needing to try and get kids interested back into ag and farming?
Mr.
Mr.
Luthi, go
Chairman,
ahead.
Senator Schuler, what a great question. I mean, I'd love to tell you that this bill will do it. All right, that is the silver bullet, but it is, as the task force learned, it's many things that contribute to that. Part of it is the ability to make a living. Part of it is succession planning, what makes sense in terms of federal tax and state tax laws. Part of it is local regulations that actually make a difference of what you can and cannot do. So again, I think this is a piece of it. And thank you for your consideration and thank you for that question.
Anything else for Mr. Luthi? Okay. Thank you much.
Thank you
Mr.
so
Luthi.
much.
Really appreciate the work you do. Further testimony, we're on the agricultural trust bill, and let's get up here and get real busy on this one so that we can get to our next one. We want to keep things moving and get some bills up to the state Senate. Good afternoon, troops. Good to see all of you. Who wants to start? Let's just go right to
Mr.
left.
Chairman,
Look at you. Okay.
members of the committee, it's great to be in front of you after this morning and back here again. Jess Johnson, Wyoming Wildlife Federation. I'm actually sitting here. You have a letter of support in front of you representing that. I'll keep it brief because you have the letter, but I wanted to make a point and say that we spent a lot of the last part of the year trying to talk across the divide and find things that we can work on with agriculture, because what we know is the sporting community and the agricultural community, the values are about 98% the same. And this is one of those things where we see a total slam dunk of like, we can support this. This is awesome. The value of working lands, traditional farmers and ranchers on the landscape in this state cannot be stated enough. And we see this as something that is propping that up, that is putting the Wyoming that we want to see in the future, and it is helping how we bring new and youth into the agricultural community. This is the Wyoming we want to see. So we just stand in firm support of this. We have a long history of supporting WWNRT and the great projects that come out of things like this. And we see this as a really fiscally conservative sort of solution to keeping working lands working in the state. So I'll yield the rest of my time and thank you for this.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Really appreciate it. Questions, committee? Please proceed. Good afternoon.
Hello, committee. Era Arano, Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. Again, we're a 119-year-old grassroots organization with over 14,000 members across 3 states, including Wyoming. From sheep to cattle, wheat to sugar beets and corn, agriculture is the backbone of our economy, as you know. And things are not kind in the ag world right now. We have incredible costs rising. All of our inputs are rising. With the exception of a small sliver, we are not getting the money back that we want for those things. Our members are struggling to stay in business. We are those small family farmers, and yes, they are going out of business here and across the country. We cannot and should not rely on large agribusiness to invest in Wyoming, and so we are pleased to support this. You have our full support. We support the strategic investments, the new technologies, the products, the creation of business opportunities that supports not just our producers themselves, but all of the rural communities we have in the state. Thank you for your consideration. Please let us know how we can continue to support this bill.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Any questions? Hello, Brett. Welcome back. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brett Moline, Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation, sitting in firm support of this bill. Really appreciate that Farm Bureau was asked to come to the table to work on this. This is probably the best pro-ag bill that I have seen in a long time. It's narrow to agriculture, but not so narrow that we can't use it for many different aspects. There's so many issues in agriculture. You know, we need research, we need product development, we need labor. This bill, this program will help us in agriculture. And I've also been asked by Mr. Magagna with the Wyoming Stock Growers Association to show his organization's support for this bill. And I will end on this comment. If Farmers Union, Farm Bureau, and stock growers all agree, it must be one heck of a bill. With that, Mr. Chairman, a little bit on the light side, but sitting in firm support of this bill, I would sit for any questions you or the committee may have for me.
Thanks, Mr. Moline. Really appreciate both of you being here. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks. Let's get further testimony. If there's anyone else who would like to testify on this bill, let's get that done. We want to keep clipping this afternoon as the clock keeps moving. So good afternoon.
Beth Butler, and I'm a 5th-generation cattle rancher out of Converse County, and I would just like to show my support of this bill. I can see all of the wonderful things it would do for people in my industry. I was a student that went through ag in the classroom, and my father taught in ag in the classroom, and I can just see how these funds would actually be helpful and be supportive of our industry. So thank you.
Ms. Butler, thank you. Thanks for the work you do and keeping our ranches alive out there. And thanks for coming down.
Absolutely.
Any questions? Do you know this guy over here?
Sure do.
I thought so. Yeah, that's great. Anybody else in the room want to testify on the Ag Trust? Anyone online
No, Mr.
wish to testify?
Not for this.
Okay, I'm gonna close testimony. Committee, what's your pleasure on the bill?
Move the bill.
Moved by Senator Schuler. We do have a couple of amendments, committee, that have been suggested that I bet we could handle here real quickly. Senator Jones, do you have one?
Mr. Chairman, I do. I move that we add the Department of Ag amendments and insert on page 9, letter B. Then I believe letter B would be changed to letter C.
Okay, Sue, do you have that over there? Do you have,
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
okay. This is the appropriation piece, Director, 42,944, and that simply takes care of the board and helps them to do their work primarily, so.
Mr. Chairman.
You go ahead, Senator Boner.
And I'm not seeing the amendment, but I'm assuming that we want that stern language that said that it's the intent of the legislature that this be included in the next biennium budget request. Would that be correct? And so maybe, is that a friendly enough amendment?
I think that's friendly, isn't it,
Okay.
Senator Jones? Okay. Any other comments on the proposed amendment? All those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Okay, that amendment has passed. Senator Boner, do you have anything else other than the work that you're going to try to do with our treasurer's office? Anything that we can do to help the bill this afternoon?
Sure. On page 8, line 22, after thereafter, put a period and then strike through the rest of the line. So
Okay,
it removes the sunset for the reporting requirement.
does everybody understand the amendment? All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, that one passes. Anything else on the bill this afternoon? Please take roll on Senate File 109.
Mr. Chairman, this is a roll call vote for Senate File 109 as amended. Senator Boner.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Hicks has left an absentee vote of aye.
Okay,
Senator Jones.
Aye.
Senator Schuler.
Aye.
Chairman Landon.
aye.
Mr. Chairman, you have 5 ayes.
Senator Boner, look forward to seeing this bill go through the processes and maybe a committee of the whole amendment that would take care of that concern by the treasurer's office. That'll add to the bill. That'll be great. We're right behind you if a fight breaks out up top there. Director, thank you. I appreciate it. Senate Joint Resolution 9, keeping public lands protected and decisions local. Senator Barlow, and you've got some outstanding co-sponsors on this bill. I noticed, and that's just awesome. Take it away. Tell us what this bill is all about.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. It's great to be with you here today. Probably, Mr. Chairman, maybe we should have a show of hands of how many people behind me want to actually provide testimony, and that will give me how long I have to do something. So do you want to ask who might be interested in providing testimony?
We do have lots and lots of folks behind you
Okay,
there,
that's what I
Senator, and they know that I'm going to do everything I can
Okay.
for everybody I can.
Yep.
Obviously, we're going to run a little short, but you know what?
Yep.
We'll give it the old college try.
Okay.
So take it away, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I think, just in brief, we know how much public lands are part of our state. We don't have to talk about the percentages of public land, minerals, et cetera. What I think we really need to understand, and what this is urging, is that Congress, those that are responsible for the management lands, understand how important they are to our communities, to our economy, and to our way of life. And I think that's what this resolution is doing its best to communicate that clearly. So as many resolutions do, they're just trying to outline, those values, the values that we have. And so as I've traveled across the state, I've had an opportunity to do in the last 6 months, every corner of the state has a different connection and a different way that they appreciate this access and the opportunities that these public lands provide. So what this bill does is try to capture the majority of that. And I'm sure we didn't get everything, but it's a lot of it. So public lands are both our heritage, and for many people, that's their posterity. It's what they want to pass on to another generation. And I think that that's what is most important about the words in this. And I don't do the whereases. The whereases are kind of building the case. I said I'm not going to go through them. I'm not going to go through them because I think you can read through those and go find somewhere that fits for you or for your community, whether it's our economy and the mineral industry, or agriculture and how we use them, or whether it's a recreation and where we do hunting and where we go to fish and where we recreate, whether it's with wheels or with skis or whatever we may do on public lands. But I think the important part is in the section 2, and this is kind of our lands, and that this is, I'm just going to briefly talk this. The legislature opposes a broad or indiscriminate sale or exchange of public lands. Let's be clear, ladies and gentlemen, there are ways to have exchanges and sales in existing law. And in fact, my family has done an exchange, significant exchange, 25 years ago. There are neighbors of Senator Boner and I who are in disposal activities right now that are taking place. So there are ways to actually accomplish things in a meaningful way with public input. So we don't need to have top-down mandates coming at us, would be my point with this. The next one I think is also quite important, and I've been involved in this since 1986 when I participated in a process called Iraq. It's a policy type of approach, and is to respect the local voices, the communities. When we talk about the RMP, whether it's Rock Springs or the activity that's going on in Converse County with that, or the Buffalo RMP, local voices in these federal land decisions are so important, whether it's elected officials, private landowners, fee mineral owners, or the user communities, i.e. hunters, anglers, that. Obviously, section 3 of this talks about those exchanges, adjustments, disposals I've already mentioned in the community. And then probably one of the other important things is, and Senator Boner's dealt with this, I've dealt with this in our different field offices, is they have to have the resources to actually respond to some of the challenges that they're dealing with, and opportunities as well. So I think, Mr. Chairman, that lays it out very, I think, like I said, the whereases are all important, but getting down to the bottom line is we do things with local input, we do things that are supported locally, and we do things that actually benefit our communities and strengthen those things. So, Mr. Chairman, in deference to the many people who traveled here, and thank you for your accommodation for this meeting time, so we have some opportunity to get this to the floor because the week is growing short. I do appreciate that. Stand for any questions.
Thank you, Senator. Questions of the bringer of the bill. Senator Boner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the words are in the resolution. I think the big part of the problem that we've been having over the past several years is you're dealing with kind of these radical swings to the left and right every time we get a new administration in Washington, and that hasn't benefited anybody. So I think getting more refocused on the local input would be a huge step forward. But in similar lines, and the resolution doesn't address this, there's also the legal risk associated with these federal lands, and Commerce County EIS being a perfect example of a project that took years and years, lots of local input, and is now currently enjoined by a DC judge. Do you have any thoughts on to how to deal with that element where you don't have government entities necessarily causing trouble, but private organizations litigating to get their particular policy outcomes outside of the political process?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead,
thank
Senator.
you, Senator Boner, for that. Look, I've actually testified in front of Congress. That's no secret about that. And sometimes the agencies don't have the tools they need. If they don't have the tools they need or the sideboards that we need, then it's on Congress to provide those. So I think that there are people litigating on multiple sides of some of these issues. We would all recognize that. And as the pendulum swings, which we can talk about whether it's an administration or court case or whatever, which I'm not sure it's a pendulum anymore that you think about in your grandfather clock. It feels more like a gong show right now and has for some time. But I think that we can do our part for the state of Wyoming by advocating for our communities through the governor's office, through the legislature. I think Congress has to also help delineate some limitations, whether it's litigatory limitations or other things that may be helpful in this. But they also lay out some policy as well, whether it's Federal Land Management Policy Act, Mineral Leasing Act, those type of things that could be improved to maybe avoid some of these things, including resourcing the agencies adequately to do the work that needs to be done, whether it's leasing work or whether it's RMP work or whether it's EIS work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else for the bringer of the bill? Senator, thanks. I'll let you sit back or grab a seat up here on the end and we'll go to some other testimony, okay?
Thank you,
So
Mr.
thank you
Chairman,
very
thank you.
much. Chairman Byron, it's nice to see you this afternoon. By golly, I see your name on this bill. Do you have anything that you want to add to things yet? Okay, well, if you come up with something, you sure are going to get to the front of the line. Thank you. It's good to see you, Chairman. How about, let's go to our Game and Fish Department real quickly, and then I do want to get to some folks. Appreciate you all coming, and it's a great afternoon to have this conversation. So, Director, good
Thank you,
afternoon.
Mr. Chairman. Angie Bruce, Director, Wyoming Game and Fish. I'll be very brief because I think a lot of folks in this room want to talk about the value of public lands to them. But this intersects with us in two ways. First of all, the recreational component. Our hunters, anglers, wildlife enthusiasts greatly appreciate what public lands offer in this state. But secondly, the value of maintaining healthy wildlife populations and the critical habitat that we see on public lands. Just a few little facts. The sage grouse executive order, the sage grouse core area, 55% is located on our federal public lands, as well as 55% of big game crucial winter range. And so what I really like to see in this is the emphasis that has been placed, page 5, lines 10 and 11, like has already been talked about, this local input and consultation with the states. We currently review all land exchanges and sales if we know about them and provide that expertise of effects on wildlife habitat. So to see our role in here and emphasize is appreciated so we can continue to weigh in when needed on these important and critical habitats. So with that, I'll just stand for any questions.
Thank you, Director Bruce. Appreciate it. Anything for the Game and Fish? Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Are there any other agency folks here? I'm looking out across. I don't see that. Let's go to how many again want to testify on this bill? Thank you for understanding when you come up that we have lots of people who want to do this. Okay, so let's go like a minute or two at a time, and please come forward and fill up the seats, and let's have some testimony on this bill. Okay, and follow a lead by Ms. Johnson. She's good at this stuff. She knows. So if we just do that, I'd love to get as many up as we can. And thank you all for being here. Ms. Johnson, take us away.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Jess Johnson, Wyoming Wildlife Federation, and I will just stand in firm support from the sporting angle. We think the bill speaks for itself. I don't need to elaborate more, and I'm going to yield the time to the folks that have made it their opportunity to come here. But I just wanted you to know that the sporting community is strongly in support of this, and the 38 co-sponsors and Senator Barlow for bringing that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Ms. Johnson. Good afternoon. Please introduce yourself, and we look forward to your testimony.
Thank you, Chairman Landon and members of the committee for allowing me to speak here today. I also want to thank Senator Barlow and the co-sponsors of SJ9 for proposing this bill. My name is Tracy McClinnick. My husband, Joe Hargrave, and I live in DuBois, Wyoming. We raise our children in that community, and we own and operate a small guest ranch and outfitting business. We are members of the DuBois Outfitters Association, the National Bighorn Sheep Center, the DuBois Chamber of Commerce, and a number of other local organizations that support our community. I'm here today to speak personally to the value of SJ9, which is a common sense bill, because public lands are valuable to the people of Wyoming and our culture and lifestyles across the state. There should be additional layers of protection, stopgaps, and these stopgaps should allow communities and individuals like me to provide input when considering impactful change, especially change that's motivated by external pressures, ulterior motives, and those concepts that don't align with Wyoming ethics and Wyoming lifestyle, and especially change that would have a permanent and irreversible ripple effect upon our wildlands, our wildlife, and our wild Wyoming individuals. I want to express my support for this bill, and I also want to take this opportunity to encourage others within this room to guide friends, family, strangers to love Wyoming in the same way that I do. As an outfitter, I have the privilege of guiding the public on public lands. It is an honor to give a person the opportunity to see beautiful places and enjoy these places and know that the public owns these lands and that we can treasure these lands. Friends that had way more experience than me, hiking, biking, fishing, hunting, riding, they invited me to join them years ago when I moved to Wyoming. And then my husband guided me, and it was like being given a gift. It is a true gift to experience, explore, and fall in love with our public lands. So I encourage everyone here to open a friend's eyes to the beauty and value of this state and give others the confidence to embrace our outdoors, our wildlife, our wildlands, and help them get past that insecurity that comes with exploring the unknown. Again, I have the privilege of doing this as a professional, but I encourage you to invite a friend, even a stranger, to join you out there and let them see what they are missing. Let them fall in love with this treasure, the treasure of Wyoming, and then they will understand the value of their public lands and join in the efforts to keep them. Thank you again. And again, please vote in support of SJ9. Thank you.
Ms. McClinic?
Yes, sir.
And that is spelled with an MC, but then clinic is Ms. McClinic. I hope I got that right.
Well, you're probably thinking of that old movie McClintock, but
Yeah,
I'm
there you go.
I'm a tick, not a talk.
Yeah. My age is showing, isn't it?
I'm feeling it, yeah.
Thank you. Wonderful testimony.
Thank you.
Appreciate it so much. And obviously, I love Du Bois. We have a place there, so I'll look for you.
Thank
Great
you.
to see you. Good afternoon. Please introduce yourself, and we look forward to your testimony.
Chairman Landon and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity today. My name is Tori Roothouse. I'm a resident of Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I serve as the marketing manager for Aero Precision, Stag Arms, and Ballistic Advantage, collectively one of the largest firearms manufacturing groups in the world. I'm here today on behalf of the companies I represent, and most importantly, as a Wyoming constituent in support of this bill. I moved to Wyoming nearly 3 years ago from Missouri, where public land is limited and access is largely dependent on private ownership. When I arrived here, the scale and accessibility of Wyoming's public lands were eye-opening. In this state, opportunity isn't reserved, it's available. As an avid huntress and outdoors woman, that access has allowed me to fully participate in the traditions that define Wyoming. This bill recognizes that Wyoming's firearm heritage is rooted in responsible ownership, hunting, sport shooting, and self-reliance. Those values are lived out every season across this state. Reinforced through youth programs like 4-H shooting sports, where young people learn firearm safety, discipline, and respect for wildlife from the very beginning. The firearms industry exists because of that culture of responsible participation, not the other way around. When access, opportunity, and heritage are protected, that culture remains strong for the next generation. This bill affirms Wyoming's commitment to preserving that heritage, and therefore I respectfully ask that you support this bill. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Rithouse, nicely done. Thank you very much for being here. Let's keep moving and please come up and fill the chairs. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Colton Schick, and I would typically be representing WWF, but today I'm going to take my name tag off and set it in front of me because I'm going to be representing the youth generation of sportsmen and women. So I heard about this bill and I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I got some friends to write some letters, but out of respect of time, I'm only going to read one. A young man from Laramie. I'm Lane Jones and I'm a junior at University of Wyoming. Being born and raised in Wyoming, public lands have been a critical part of my upbringing. From the age of 5, I have been accompanied by my dad hunting mule deer, elk, and antelope across the state of Wyoming. Public lands have been a foundational part of my life. The ability to spend my free time hunting, fishing, and camping on public lands is an opportunity that I do not take for granted. It is a major reason why I call the great state my home. SJ9, sponsored by Senator Barlow, is an important resolution as it recognizes the public land lands are a resource that all Wyoming residents cherish, and thus decision-making regarding their sale needs to remain local. As stated in SJ 9, regarding their sale needs to be, approximately 91% of residents utilize public lands for activities such as work, recreating, agriculture, hunting, and resource development. Ensuring local input in land management is critical as the wrong decisions impact the entire state. I appreciate that the resolution does not oppose all land exchanges, but that it supports responsible, locally supported management decisions and opposes large-scale sell-offs of public land. As a 20-year-old young man who has had the privilege to personally harvest 18 big game animals, all exclusively on public lands, not only does this decision making regarding public lands directly impact me, but it will more importantly impact my kids and grandkids. Setting a precedent through this resolution will ensure that young boys and girls will get to accompany their parents and grandparents on hunting adventures across public lands in Wyoming for many years to come. Thank you for your time, and thank you for Colton Schick for allowing me to have a voice and something that means so much to me. So I thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, for your guys' time and consideration and hopeful support. Thank you.
Colton, you did great. Thank you. I missed your last name, Colton. Can you help us real quick?
Yes, sir. Schick, like the razor.
Okay, gotcha. It's
Thank
great
you.
to see you. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. We're running short on time, fellas. Let's really get after it, okay? I'm going to ask everybody to keep it to about a minute so that we can get as many folks in. Go ahead.
Absolutely. My name is Dylan Power. I'm a student out of Park 6. I'm from Cody. And I just cannot explain how important public lands is to me personally and my friends. I'm a cyclist. I'm a part of my local cycling team. And essentially all of our rides exist on public lands, and we would not be able to exist without our public lands. So it is just vitally important that we keep that for ourselves. And furthermore, it is important to recognize, I think, just how well these lands are managed, especially in Wyoming, through these local controls. Wyoming has always been about federalism and keeping decisions local. This bill does that in a fantastic way, I believe, and just how regulated and how clean and how safe they can be if these decisions are held to be local. Thank you so much.
Well done, Mr. Power. Thank you. Thanks for coming all the way down here. It means a lot to us. Thank you. Take it away. Good afternoon.
Thank you. And thanks for your time. I'll try to make this quick. I didn't really plan on really what I was going to say up here, but I've heard a lot of, I wanted to thank Senator Barlow for his comments, and I think this is a good step in the right direction. I've lived here my whole life. I was born and raised in Thermopolis, and I've worked here my whole life. You know, I was hunting and fishing with my grandpa, and my dad taught me, and I got to watch both of my boys kill their first elk on, on public land. It's just it's everybody has their own use of them, and of the public lands. And it's so important, 91 or 92% of people in Wyoming use them for different things, whether it's hunting or fishing or biking or just walking your dog or hanging out with your family. So I just wanted to reiterate that I think this is a good step in the right direction. So
Don't you wonder what those other 8 or 9% of people are doing? I mean, only
Yeah,
91% of us?
yeah, we just want to put it across that we're not for sale. We're not ever going to be for sale, and
There you
and
go.
quit bringing it up.
Great stuff.
So thank
Thanks
you.
for coming down from Thermopolis. It's good to see you, and thank you very much. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is John Wanzel. I'm from Laramie, Wyoming. Public lands are critical for my life. I hunt, I fish, I trap. I'm a wildlife biologist. I really stand in support of this resolution, and I hope we can keep going forward with it. I like the public input idea tremendously, local input. These areas are important for the wildlife, for the habitat, for our well-being, not just for our generation, but for future generations as well. Thank you for your time, and I hope you support this.
John, thanks for coming over the hill, and really appreciate you. Thank you. Hello, Kelly. Good afternoon.
Mr. Chairman, committee member Kelly Crakel, the mayor of town of Alabama. I'm here on behalf of the Wyoming Association of Municipalities, also known as WAM. I'll keep it short. We like the way the resolution is written. Wham is 100% in support of the resolution, so on and for it.
Mr. Mayor, it's good to see you. Thanks for everything. And I know we'll see you in the next 2 weeks, hopefully, in and out. So Aaron,
Okay,
take it
and
away. Hi.
Rocky
Good
Mountain
afternoon.
Farmers Union again. My Wyoming members have a specific policy that says we oppose the sale of public lands without full environmental review and meaningful public comment. We fully support this resolution. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, sir. Great to see
To
you.
the committee, Matt Gaffney. I work for the Wyoming Outdoor Council. I'm the legal director. We stand in full support of Senate Resolution 9. It's nice to unite behind an idea rather than standing in opposition, and we feel that the resolution reflects the vast majority of Wyomingites' views and opinions on public land transfers. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gaffney, thank you. Appreciate it. Any questions of, okay. Anybody else want to come forward? I didn't mean to scare anybody off. We're just trying to get to everyone. Anybody else like to testify? Please come forward. We've got a few more minutes. Good afternoon. If you could introduce yourself, and we look forward to your testimony.
Hi, my name's Ingrid Anderson, and I'm a high school senior in Cody. And living so close to Yellowstone has really shaped myself and made me appreciate public land so much more. And this past summer, I worked for the Youth Conservation Corps in Yellowstone, and being outdoors for weeks at a time and being in these public lands and working day in and day out, just working so hard to protect them and conserve them. I don't understand how anybody could ever put them in harm's way or put them at risk of selling them. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on how important they are to me, and how to everybody else here, they have just served as such an important lifeline in their life that has really shaped them personally. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So that, was that a federal program, the Youth Conservation Corps, right?
Yes,
And
it was.
did you just spend like a couple weeks at a time in the park and doing projects and things?
I lived there for a month, and we would each week we would go out into the wilderness and we would camp out there and work projects outdoors. And it served people from all over the country. Like, I was one of the only people from Wyoming who was there. And just being in Yellowstone and having that experience, I think it really affected everybody around the country. And so many people from the country come to Yellowstone. And yeah, it was just really important to me. So I want to share that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for being down here and all the work you're doing. Let's take it. Who was first? Okay, you both pointed at each other. Here you go.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. My name is Wade Bauer. I'm the student trustee on Cody's school board. And I just want to highlight from an education standpoint the importance of our public lands. Cody is very innovative in our education, and we have an outdoor pod class where we use our public lands to go out and do hands-on learning, which is such a cool experience for our students. So just from an education standpoint and as a student, I just wanted to highlight that public lands are very educational for us.
Wade, did you say you're on the school board?
I am, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the hard lift. We get to come down, we get to come down and hide in the corner of the state and vote, and you have to vote right across the street. It's tougher.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chairman and committee members. My name is Sunday Shu. I'm also a senior at Cody High School. And I just wanted to come up and speak not only from an avid outdoors person perspective, but also from the economic perspective of just how important our public lands are. I recreate in the Shoshone National Forest in Yellowstone. I've grown up there my entire life. And not only that, but I work at Sunlight Sports in downtown Cody. And as you well are aware of how important it is for our economy in Cody. I mean, tourism is everything. People come to Cody to go to Yellowstone, to go to the Shoshone National Forest. It's the gateway to those areas. And they come through Sunlight Sports. They buy their gear there. They buy stuff from us so that they can recreate in those public lands. So, I mean, it's a huge part of our economy, as it is for many other communities in Wyoming. So I just wanted to echo that.
And it's Miss Issue, is that right?
Shu, yep,
Shu.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry I got that wrong.
No worries.
Thank you for your testimony, and thanks for being down here.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Yeah,
Chairman.
Hope you enjoy all your time. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Do we have folks online or anybody
Mr.
online that
Chairman, I
would
have
like to?
3 online, beginning with Jason West.
Okay, we'll do the best we can to get to everyone. And it's a Mr. West, is that right?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
We sure can. Mr. West, take it away.
Thank you, Chairman and committee. My name is Jason West, and beyond my own passion for hunting and public lands, I'm also a physical therapist, and I spend my day helping people get back to doing what they love. And for the vast majority of those people, that means pursuing their passions on public lands. No one comes to physical therapy so they can get back to their couch. People want to hike, bike, hunt, fish, backpack, climb, ride horses, camp, ATV, run, all of that on our public lands. And so from another perspective, public lands are medicine, and they're some of the best medicine that I've found. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason, for your testimony. We really appreciate it. And thanks for being here this afternoon. Let's keep going, Sue. We've got a couple
Mr.
more
Chairman,
folks.
Marshall Cummings.
Okay.
Hi, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Marshall Cummings. I'm the president of USW Local 13214, and I represent over 600 Shona miners at WeSoda. I serve as the president of the Southwest Labor Council that serves more than 1,500 workers across Southwest Wyoming, and nearly all of them are outdoors men and women. I'm a member of the Greater Little Mountain Coalition, and we worked on the RMP down here. A father, a son, a husband, and most importantly, I'm a Christian. My roots run deep in Wyoming soil. My grandfather on my mom's side was a rancher. My grandfather on my dad's side was a Forest Service agent, and now I'm a third-generation miner. The outdoors shaped me second only to my faith. I've never felt closer to the good Lord than when I was on my knees thanking him for a good day of chasing bugle and bulls, one or not. All of this was done on public land. That's why I felt called to stand in support of this joint resolution. This resolution gets it right. It recognizes that public lands are central to Wyoming's heritage, economy, and way of life. It defends multiple use, responsible development of resources, agriculture, grazing, recreation, hunting, fishing, trapping, and the list goes on. Not as competing interests, but as balanced framework that has served our state well for generations. In mining, we've proven responsible development is possible. For over a decade, I've worked in energy production, burning coal at WeSoda. We met stringent emission goals through innovation and hard work because most of us want to keep the great outdoors the way that they are. Wyoming workers rose to that challenge, and we always will. We can produce energy and support jobs that protect the land at the same time. What this resolution wisely pushes back against is broad quota-driven large-scale disposal of public lands without meaningful local input. 91% of our residents, like you talked about, I don't know what the other 8 does, use our public lands. Decisions made without county plans, without community voices, and without considering long-term costs shift burdens onto our towns and erode local governance. If adjustments are needed, this resolution supports doing so responsibly under existing law with local participation, transparency, and respect for the Wyoming way of life. As a hunter, fisherman, and father, I want my children to breathe clean mountain air and know the pride of earning what's on their table. Article 1, Section 39 of our Constitution protects this heritage. Steward it, respect it, and protect it. This resolution protects our lands, our economy, our heritage, and our voice. It allows us to keep our priorities in check, where we serve the Almighty instead of fall slave to the almighty dollar. This resolution does that in a responsible way, the Wyoming way. In closing, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Chairman, Senator Barlow, and the rest of the people who co-sponsored this bill. Thank you for this opportunity.
Well done, Mr. Cummings. Really appreciate it. And by the way, that Senator Jones is taking good care of Sweetwater County for you. She's sitting here right beside me. So thank you for your testimony. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
One more.
Jordan Seitz.
Gordon, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We sure can.
All right. Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Landon and members of the committee. My name is Jordan Seitz, and I teach junior high students here at the public school in Encampment. For 17 years, I've taken students on countless public land adventures around us. We've explored copper mine sites to learn about elements in copper ore and local history. We've hugged stromatolite fossils on top of the Snowy Range, which are actually some of the oldest fossils in the country, actually the world. and collected petrified wood in Shirley Basin. Our mountains, rivers have been great places to learn about erosion and plate tectonics and land restoration. We take snowshoeing and skiing trips every year, and we incorporate lessons on winter safety and survival. My students have written stories about the Flight 409 plane wreck that happened at the base of Medicine Bow Peak, and we hiked to it first and look at the wreckage. After the Platte River Wilderness burned, my students helped replant the sagebrush, bitterbrush, and serviceberry in one section. In hard winters, we've got over 1,000 pronghorn that'll migrate in mass through the valley. We've helped document it. My students have been studying our local bighorn sheep herd. We've helped Game and Fish put GPS collars on ewes. My students participate in hard hikes, and I mean really hard hikes, in rough country to observe the sheep using optics and trail cameras. We collaborate with other groups, and so my students have had the opportunity to be mentored by some amazing individuals from agencies and organizations around the state. This has led many to consider careers in wildlife and conservation. My students' favorite memories over the years in my class are always related to the adventures we go on. We build relationships that go beyond our school walls. And our adventures on public lands allow students to see wild places, do hard things, overcome fears, and challenge themselves physically and mentally. Some have told me they've seen the prettiest places they've ever seen on my trips. Others have found peace in nature that they haven't been able to find elsewhere. And others feel accomplished after completing what they say is the hardest thing they have ever done, which is usually halfway or 3/4 of the way up out of a canyon. The experiences vary, but everyone learns something about the place they live and about themselves. Now, a common theme among all these that I've mentioned is that it happens on a variety of public lands around us. So availability and access to those public lands truly enrich my students' education and their personal lives in ways that no textbook or computer can. Thank you for allowing me to share how my students benefit from public land use and SR9.
Jordan, that was awesome. And I'm just wondering if anybody in the room can sign up for some of those classes that you're taking them on. That's just awesome stuff. Thanks for your testimony.
Thank you.
And thanks for what you do every day. Okay, is there anyone else online?
That's everyone, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, has anybody changed their mind in the room and want to come forward? Thank you all. Really appreciate it. I'm going to close public testimony. Committee, what's your pleasure on this bill?
Move the bill.
Okay, moved by Senator Jones. Keeping public lands protected and just anything on the bill, committee, any proposed amendments? Senator Bonner.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, yeah, I appreciate, more I had as a no on introduction, but more testimony I heard, more I understand the emphasis on local decision-making. I think I can support the bill. Still want to voice my frustration after having worked on things like, say, the Commerce County EIS, just to have it thrown out or stayed by a judge. That's incredibly frustrating. I think we have to be realistic about the challenges, but there's nothing in this resolution that I have any problem with. Maybe I'm just a little too salty for my own good sometimes, but I think we all know the challenges. And, in my neck of the woods, Powder River Basin, there is no actual public land. It's all public minerals. And that puts us at tremendous political risk, and so that's kind of where I struggle with the way our public lands have been used. But I think that if you look to the resolution, it has all those solutions. If we can get back to and honoring that local work, I think I can support that.
Yeah, thank you, Senator. Any other thoughts? Senator
I
Schuler.
know we're running out of time, but I just wanted to thank the good Senator Barlow and all the people that co-signed and all the people who testified. It was amazing, especially some of the young folks in the room. It's great. And I think it just sends the message that we need to send, that we just strongly support keeping our public lands public in Wyoming. And we just need to keep reiterating it. Somebody mentioned it out there. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. I think that's what we've got to do. Keep passing the word. This is our land. We need to keep it Wyoming.
Yeah, good stuff, Senator. Senator Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill has filled my email inbox, and overwhelmingly, I don't think I've got one single email that was against this resolution. So it was pretty cool to see. I'm sure I got emails from a lot of people sitting out here, but I appreciate them.
Well, thank you, senators, and I feel the same way. Really appreciate all that all of you do to get out there and take good care of Wyoming's wildlands, and we're doing the best we can here in the Wyoming Senate to make sure we can hand it off better than we found it, and that's more challenging all the time, isn't it? And some of you young folks, stop by the Senate because someday you're going to be sitting in there, I hope. Hope you're ready to do that when the time comes. Thanks, everyone. We're going to take a roll call on this nice little joint resolution.
Senator Boner. Senator Hicks, Mr. Chairman, Senator Hicks has left an absentee vote of aye.
Okay.
Senator Jones. Aye. Senator Schuler.
Aye.
Chairman Landon.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, you have 5 ayes.
Okay, the Senate Joint Resolution has passed the committee and it'll go up to the Wyoming Senate. Senator Barlow, congrats. Thanks for all your work. We'll back you up when we get up on the floor. So, thank you. Thanks, everybody.